just talk about, first of all, being able to schedule games close by before you get heavily off in the conference play.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a plus. I mean, having them and U of H and teams like that, it's definitely a plus for us to be able to schedule close games so we can kind of see where we compare with other teams within the region of Houston, to see where they're getting their kids from versus where we're getting our kids from and things like that, and getting into the game and stuff. I mean, yeah, if we don't make the simple mistakes, then things would obviously be a lot different. I think we play with them a lot better than we had in the past. I would say that. It's not just a kickball game, but once we mentally get to that spot where we get scored on after making 2 or 3 simple mistakes, then it's like over. It's like a waterfall.
The one thing since this year I've had a lot more opportunity to watch a lot more games and all, it's more so of depth and physical.
Right.
Well, I take that, but depth and mental than it is physical, because the game is physical itself.
Right.
But those two factors will decide whether you win or lose, or your mistakes are minimal.
Yeah, the mental mistakes, I think, is probably number one thing in our book. I mean, every time we're creating mistakes for them, and we do it ourselves, and at the end of the game, we're losing because of our mistakes. Not of anything that they have done extraordinary, it's because of our mistakes. So I think once we limit that, physically, I think also we're still not where we need to be. I think we can be a lot more physical, and especially when you're playing against crosstown teams. It's like, hey, let's try to, knock people around and show them, hey, we're third ward, TSU, let's go. So we don't have that mentality. And I think once we get that, and the mental, it's just mental toughness. I can't teach that, It's like you already have to have that and just come in knowing that, hey, I'm good to go. We got scored on the sign. Let's stick to the game plan. Let's remain focused and let's move forward.
Okay, let's talk about the generality of tonight's match and all from beginning to end. I mean, you mentioned earlier about, falling behind,
right.
But you still got it. It's still a match going on.
Right, it's still a match going on. I mean, the biggest thing for us is that we don't fight. I mean, we don't stop fighting. You have a couple people, you have some missing pieces where you obviously want to continue to fight, and we don't have that whole collective group of staying cohesive and staying together as a team. I think like the forwards will give their all a couple times, and the midfield and defense. So I think if we're all on the same page, I think we'll be fine. But we're going to continue to fight. I think that's a huge step from where we were 2 years ago, where we were just definitely not fighting. We just kind of give up. But we're going to stick to the game plan because we obviously know conferences when the real games count. So we're getting prepared for that. And if we get down, we got to learn how to keep going and fighting through. So, the game, like I said, we make the mental mistakes and they capitalize on them, but I think in the end of the day, if we limit those, I think we'll be fine. Because we are looking good, connecting passes, trying to take shots on goal, being aggressive when we need to be.
All right, Coach. Tonight's match was a tough one to lose, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
And the conference players down the road, and that's why they start counting, like
exactly.
you mentioned. All right, this is Jerry Lee Wooler Jr. with the King Size View College Sports Report.